Our next subject is rapport. In your notes, anywhere you want, there's no place for it, just write rapport is power. Rapport is power. Earlier today we said anything you want to achieve, anything you want to learn, master, experience, there's somebody out there who has a life experience, the understanding, the network, the capital, the thing you need to be able to achieve it. But they're not going to give you what they want, or they're not going to give you what you want, rather, and need, until you first give them what they want and need. And you're not even going to find out what they want and need until you first get in a relationship of rapport. If you don't do that, you're never going to learn anything. Rapport is power. What is a relationship of rapport? Rapport means total responsiveness between people. When someone is totally responding to you, and you're totally responding to them, you're in rapport. There's that connection. It's that spark that happens in certain communications or relationships. Now, everybody wants to create rapport, have it, but most people only get rapport with people who are like whom? Themselves, and they lose with everybody else, which means you got a very limited world. So we want to take it to a different level. So let's say, for example, if I said to you right now, guys, I want you to go out to a local restaurant or bar, and I want you to meet somebody, and I want you to develop rapport with them, a connection with them. How many feel like you could do that? No problem. Say aye. And if you're not raising your hand, you're probably selling yourself short. Of course you could. How would you do it, though? You'd walk in this restaurant or bar, you meet somebody, and you'd engage them in conversation by asking a few what? Questions. Now, is it possible to ask a few questions and have a conversation and go poof, and just die? Is that possible? Yes or no? So questions don't create rapport. Questions are a tool we use to dig for something. What are you digging for when you're asking these questions? You're trying to find something in what? That's right. So write in your notes, rapport is created by a feeling of commonality. Rapport is created by a feeling of commonality. Rapport is created by a feeling of commonality. When we feel like we have something in common with someone, there's a spark. Now, here's the problem. If rapport is created by a feeling of commonality, most people try to get rapport by using words. But you've already learned something. What percentage of our communication skills are words? What percentage? 7%, which means you're leaving out 93% of your skills, which is why most people don't get rapport with a large number of people. You know, what do? You walk in a restaurant or a bar and go, hi, what's your name? Where are you from? Why are you here? And the person says, my name's Habib. I'm from Iraq. I'm a terrorist. I'm here to kill people. And you go, amazing. Me too. No. See, words don't always work, do they? But there is something that always works to get rapport, and it's something called matching and mirroring. Matching and mirroring. Now, matching and mirroring came about 35 years ago when we've all done matching and mirroring our whole lives. But the person who pointed out was Milton Erickson. Dr. Erickson was a genius. What he did was he was a medical doctor, but he also was a psychologist and a hypnotherapist, probably the best that ever lived. And people would come to see him who try to change everything anywhere else in their life, nothing would work. They see him for one session, he'd handle it. And the reason is because he understood something. He understood that you have both a conscious mind and a subconscious mind. And he knew the subconscious is more powerful. It's the part that makes your heart beat 100,000 times a day without having to think about it. So he knew if he could influence your subconscious mind, he could change anything, and that's what he did. But here's how he did it. He had polio, so he was in a wheelchair. So he spent an enormous amount of time studying people. And he began to notice something about human beings, that when human beings got together, if they got in rapport, a relationship of responsiveness, they became like each other in a variety of ways. What he called, they mirrored each other. Now, I've taught this for 25 years, so I'm sure you've heard of it, and I've written it in my books, and it's been taught in a variety of other areas now. But it's one thing to know it intellectually or to understand it. It's another thing to know it while you're doing it. And that's what I want to get you to do tonight so you have a real experience of it that you won't forget. But here's the basis of it. People like people who are like whom? Themselves. And people don't like people who are not like themselves. To be more specific, write this down. People like people who are like themselves or who are like how they would like to be. People like people who are like themselves or are how they would like to be. People like people who are like themselves or how they would like to be. So question, I'd like you to think of someone you really, really like a lot. And then if you would, raise your hand if this person is either like you or they're like how you want to be. If that's true, raise your hand and say, I. Of course, that's why you like them. Now, think of someone you don't like. I'm sure you like everyone, but if you once were an unspiritual person and felt these feelings, someone you don't like, raise your hand if they're not like you or they're not like how you want to be. If that's true, raise your hand and say, I. And that's the opposite. People don't like people who are not like them or are not like how they want to be. That's the bottom line of it. So this concept, Erickson noticed, he used it in the following way. Watch me. If you came in to see Dr. Erickson, instead of talking to you intellectually and trying to get through to you, he'd go right for the jugular by getting your nervous system connected to him, getting rapport. So if you came to him and you said, Dr. Erickson, I don't know, this is a waste of time. I've tried everything and I don't know, I think I should just go. He would do this. He'd go, I'm sure it looks that way on the surface, but you haven't tried this, so you haven't tried everything, and I think you should stay. And the person would go, something about this guy I like. You know, he's not over the top, you know what I mean? He's like really real. There's just something about him that feels down home and real to me, right? If you came in to see him, they said, Dr. Erickson, I've tried everything. It's a waste of my time. I'm out of here. He'd say, you sit down. You haven't tried everything. You've not done this before. You're staying right here. The guy goes, hey, I like this guy. He's got some spunk, kick ass. Maybe he could do something. See, he became like the people he was communicating with. And what it was is whatever they put out, he sent the same message back, like biofeedback, and it entrained them to him. So that when he then told their unconscious what to do, their brain just did it. That was his power. Now, we all do this naturally. If you want to have some fun, go out tonight to a singles bar and watch people when they first meet. And then you can see when the rapport happens. If they finally sit down and they'll start to lean in the same direction, they'll start nodding their head at the same tempo. If one's tapping their foot, often you'll see the other one tap their foot. The volume and tone of their voice will start to mirror if they're in rapport. If they're out of rapport, you'll see them in direct opposites of this nature. Now, if you want to be effective then, mirroring is so easy. We do it naturally, but here's the problem. Most people wait till they have enough words in common that then they put the voice in common and the body in common. But words are only 7%. They don't work all the time. And by the way, do we judge people in a matter of seconds by their style, yes or no? That's right. Write this in your notes. Style is more important than substance initially. Style is more important than substance initially. That sounds terrible, but it's true. Style is more important than substance initially. Now, notice I say initially. If you don't have any substance, it's not going to last. But you can have lots of substance and no style, and people will never hear a word you say. No one will ever get to know what you believe. I'll give you an example. How many have ever dealt with somebody whose tone of voice alone drove you up a wall and you couldn't listen to anything they said? They had like dentist drill tonality. How many have been with somebody like this? Say I. Okay? So that style gets in the way of substance. Now, let's give an example. Let's say you and I want to mirror someone. We want someone to feel connected to us, and we're going to do it on the phone. What are some aspects of the voice that you could mirror that would make them unconsciously immediately feel connected to you? What are some aspects? You tell me. Okay, tone of voice, as we just said, is a perfect one. Because if you're talking like this, and they're talking like this, and I say, well, I don't know, what do you think? You're not going to feel very comfortable through time. Tone of voice is huge. If you mirror someone's tone of voice, they will feel connected to you and not even know why. What else besides tone of voice could you mirror on the phone? Okay, tempo. What kind of person talks at this particular pace like I'm talking right now? What kind of people talk at this particular pace? What part of the country tends to talk at this pace? Come on, where? Where? What part of the country? Where? And New York would be good. New York would be a good example. How do people talk more like this? Feel about those fast-talking city slickers. Do they trust them? No. They don't even know how to say the word dog. How does a fast-talking person feel about a slow-talking person? What do you think, Mary? Mary, what do you think, Mary? What do you think, Mary? What do you think? Mary goes, well, what? How many have ever seen this mismatch between two people? Right? What else besides speed? Volume. Loud-talking people, who do they like? They love loud-talking people. They know you're a real man, you're a real woman too. Who else likes loud-talking people? Deaf people like loud-talking people. But how do quiet-talking people feel about those loud-talking people? They're obnoxious, aren't they? And of course, intelligent people talk like you and I do, don't they? Do we judge people in a matter of seconds by their volume, by their tone, by their tempo? Yes or no? You better believe we do. What else could you mirror on the phone? Terminology, key words. There's certain words people use again and again. If you sell real estate and somebody comes in and says, I'm looking for a magnificent home, do you want to say, oh, I have a fantastic place to show you? No, I had this experience myself once. I said, I'm looking for this. No, I got a fantastic place. Fantastic and magnificent may be the same to you, but I guarantee they aren't for the other person. If you mirror their words, they will feel heard, they will feel understood, and they will also feel you're as smart as they are. What else besides words, tone, tempo, volume? Accent? Well, only if you really have that accent. Because if you try to duplicate it, it's not really your accent, you're going to break rapport, right? What about the body? What could you mirror in the body if you were there in person? What could you mirror? Posture is very powerful. They're really upright, you're upright. They're more relaxed, you're more relaxed. What else? Gestures. Watch this. If somebody's talking, and people are funny, when they're making important points, people have idiosyncratic gestures. Idiosyncratic mean gestures that are all their own. So if you're talking to this guy and he says, I don't think so, I think we ought to do this, and he makes this funny little gesture when he's talking about what he really wants to do. If you turn back to him and say, you know, that's a great idea. Can I ask you a question, though? What if we did this instead? You make that same little motion with your hand and look at him and be like, a friend. You think I'm kidding. You go out tonight at dinner and you find somebody who's on an angle to you or in front of you. Don't even look at them. Just mirror them for 5 to 10 minutes. They reach for the glass, reach for the glass. The glass is empty, no one's going to notice. Just reach for the glass. They bring it up, they bring it down, bring it down. They reach for the fork, reach for the fork. 5 to 10 minutes. 5 minutes usually, 10 minutes max. After you've done this for 5 to 10 minutes, you want to have some fun? Reach for your glass and watch what they do. They'll reach for it like that. It's called pacing and leading. It's also known as entrainment. Many of you know that if you go to an old clock shop where they have those old grandfather clocks where they have the little pendulum, that once they wind them, those pendulums start out different and they all end up in sync. It's called entrainment. Women know this, but most men don't. So I'll just share this with you. Women have the ability to be like clocks with other women. When women hang out together, men, they literally end up having their periods at the same time. So that all the men are crazy during that time. Is it true, ladies? Yes or no? If they're in a rapport, their periods become in sync. So if women's periods can come in sync, you could get rapport with a stranger across the room. And all you got to do is mirror them for 5 or 10 minutes and make a change, right? And it'll make it happen, all right? How many follow? So what else besides posture could you mirror in the body? What else? Gestures, we already said. What else? Facial expression. Most of us, if someone's telling you a story and they're like really into their story and they're making these faces, do you sit and look at them like this? No, you look back and make the same stupid look back. What about eye contact? A lot of business people and salespeople have been taught a total lie. They've been taught, like, if you're really, truly going to influence someone, you must look directly into their eyes and not break eye contact for 45 straight minutes. This way they know you really mean it. There's only one problem with that. The problem is people like people who are like whom? Themselves. So if you got somebody who just stares in your eyes and doesn't blink for 45 straight minutes, it's going to freak you out. What kind of person stares in your eyes and doesn't break eye contact? Aliens, that's who. Most humans look away, right? So if they look away, give them a break and look away. Don't make them crazy. Now, if you meet somebody who like locks eyes with you and doesn't break eye contact, you lock eyes right back, you keep them on for 45 minutes, they'll know you're an alien too, it'll build rapport. What else? What else besides eye contact, facial expressions, gestures, posture? Come on, what else? Breathing. Breathing's very powerful, one of the most powerful. If you breathe at the exact same pace as another person, you will feel what they are feeling, period. But you got to be breathing from the same location, the same tempo. And breathing is magnificent because it really hooks you to this person. How many of you can think of a time in your life when you were breathing at the same pace as another person and you felt really close for some reason? Anybody think of a time like that? See, I used to do a lot of sexual therapy for couples, and when you help people in this area, you get a practice, because people pay anything, they'll fly anywhere to get this part of their life handled. So I end up with a 6-month waiting list, no exaggeration. I mean, every single day booked, and people would be calling me based on referrals because I help their friends, and they'd be like, I gotta see you, gotta see you now. And I'm like, I got a 6-month waiting list. No, I'll pay you for your lunchtime, I'll buy your dinner. I'm going, look, how about I refer you to somebody I've trained? There are lots of people I've trained. No, it's gotta be you. So here's how I would deal with it. I would say, okay, I will give you one of my lunches if you take an assignment I give me, but first you got to answer some questions honestly. Here's the first question. When you make love, do you breathe in unison while you're making love? And invariably the guy would go, huh? And I'd say, let me explain. You're here telling me about all these things you're upset with each other about. And you can talk about these things till you're blue in the face, but the real problem is you don't feel connected, you don't feel loved. And I said, you don't have that feeling of total oneness with each other. And talking more about this is not going to change it. So if you really want to change this, I suggest you do this. And if you do what I'm telling you, still need me, I'll give you one of my lunches. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to go home and I want you to make love for an hour and a half minimum. And while you're doing it, I want you to breathe in unison the entire time with each other. Because what happens is you feel totally connected as one. Out of, 3 to 4 dozen people I asked to do that, only one person ever called us back and wanted to be able to do a session. Because the bond is there. So try it. Not now, later this evening. Plus, the great thing about mirroring somebody's breathing, it's very subtle. No one's going to jump out of their chair and say, would you stop mirroring my breathing? I mean, they're not going to notice. So you got breathing, you got posture, you got gestures, you got facial expressions, you got eye contact. What else could you mirror? Come on, use your brain. I know the answer. I want to see if you can come up with it. Come on. What else could you mirror? Proximity, good. What does proximity mean? Proximity means everybody has a certain amount of space that they need to be comfortable. And it's different for every single person you're going to meet in your life. So if I come walking up here like this, and I start walking, let's say, along here, and I walk up to this lady here, she's comfortable right now. If I come here, I'm right on the edge of her comfort zone. Am I right? You can see it in her face. How do I know? Because the muscles in her neck went, her face went, it all tightened and she stopped breathing. That's a clue. Now, that doesn't mean she doesn't want you to come closer, but that's the first moment of her starting to feel impact. If I come right back to here, there we go. Now she's breathing again. How many can see the difference? Can you see it? You can see all of a sudden she's breathing it. So this is more comfortable. Watch the difference here versus here. How many have had somebody do this where they get this close to your face and you just want to punch them? How many have had this experience? And they almost always have bad breath too, don't they? So when and are there people like that get this close in your face, yes or no? Now, if you pull back, though, you just broke rapport because that's what they need to feel good. So you got to hang in there with those people. So it's different for every person that you meet. So how do you know? Do you just guess? No, you use your sensory what? Acuity. You have acute sensitivity to see what's the impact. Oh, I'm getting here. Is this working? Oh, I can come closer or not. Where is it? And it can change too. Someone can have initial reaction and then they can let you closer. But you pay attention because if you don't do this, breaking rapport in this area, people don't even think when you're in their space. And everybody's got different space. Who here freaks out when somebody gets too close? There's some people I'm sure in this room that are total freakouts about this. You, ma'am, in the black? What's your name? Lisa, why don't you come down? Come on, give her a hand. Come on, give her a hand. Lisa, come on down here. Come on down here. Run down here, Lisa. Run down here. Run down here. Run down here.
My thing is with my face. I don't like
Oh, it's your face. Oh, there we go. It's the face. See, she's want to body block me. Did you notice that? You can, boom, we can hit bodies. That's okay. Right? But the face. Watch what happens if you get in the face. So are you enjoying the seminar? What's been your favorite part?
Not this part.
Not this part. Where are you going? Now, notice when you get too close to her face, did you see that? How many saw that instant reaction? Okay? She not only pulls back, she snaps to the side. Because most people have like a force field who have this experience. Hers is more just the face. And if you got closer to her chest or something like that, they'll do one of the things. This kind of person backs off. But most people are more subtle. If you get too close, here's what they do. They start kind of, you'll see them as they're talking to you, they're kind of wavering back and like forth. And if you notice, their ass is moving them further and further back from you, right? Or they'll do this. They'll turn sideways. Because what does that do? It creates a sense of space, okay? So everyone's different. Now hers is not the body, and she's kind of being playful now here with this as well. But the face normally is something for her that's in effect. Now she's going different. She says, okay, I'm comfortable with you. Give her a hand. Thank you very much. Now, there's another one that's critically important, and that's touch. Now, you can get more rapport by touching some people than by anything you could ever say. But again, you got to have some sensory acuity. You can't go up and go, he looks like a toucher. Hey, man, I love your hair, really good. That's really cool, really good. You do that, you could get killed. But he's a nice man, so he didn't kill me. So what we got to notice is, notice how the man shakes hands. Like, he shakes hands, he puts one hand on top of the other. Do you notice this? He reached over, I shook his hand, and immediately he brings the other hand on top like this. And when he does it, some people, when they shake your hand, they like squeeze it, see if they can break a few of your blood vessels, you know, just to show they're a real man. Other people, they got that fish handshake. But if they fish you, you got to fish them back. Yeah, here we go, fish, right? Because that builds rapport. But in his case, it's like boom, boom, right? And you get more connection and rapport with him with that touch than anything you could ever say. Thank you. So notice, how does a person touch somebody? Like even it's in business. Notice how the businesswoman or man touches their assistant in a non-sexual way. And just notice, if they come along and he comes by here and he goes, thanks a lot, Tony, and hits me like this, 3 times on the shoulder. And I come back and I say, thank you, John. I'll get more rapport by that touch than by anything that I could say to him. So touch and proximity are huge, huge. Now you might say, well, this is interesting, Tony, but what are you suggesting? Are you saying something like, okay, they sit down, I sit down. You don't have to mirror everything someone does to have rapport. It's not like they lift their leg, you lift your leg, they lean forward, you lean forward, they sit back, you sit back. You don't have to do that, although believe it or not, you can do it a lot and people not even notice. But for example, you get rapport just with the leg position and maybe the tone of voice, because physiology is 55% of communication. If you're sitting there, let's say you cross your leg like this. Can I cross my leg like this while we're talking? Yes or no? It'll feel comfortable to you. So you start bouncing your foot like this, back and forth. Can I bounce my foot at the same tempo? If I do, you'll feel totally connected to me. You do it at the same tempo. And by the way, I can do this for a while, and then if I don't like it, I can slow it down, and you'll slow yours down. That's pacing and leading again. But if you do this, if they cross their leg and now they go uncross, you don't have to uncross the moment they uncross. Wait till you go to say something and say, you know what? Because when you go to speak, speaking requires a change of physiology, and no one will ever notice what you're doing. Right? It's very unique. Now, it is true if, they lean forward. You're saying, well, right, they lean forward, I lean forward. They lean back, I lean back. They cross their leg, I cross my leg. They pick their nose, I pick my nose. Exactly. No, you don't have to do everything. And if you start going like this, when they're mirroring, you start going, after about 20 minutes, they're going, what's wrong with you? But you'd be surprised. You can mirror people and be mirroring almost everything they're doing, and they rarely, if ever, notice it, right?